Now with reaction, former Treasury intelligence analyst Morgan Ortagus, campus reform editor-in-chief Lawrence Jones, and from the Center for Immigration Studies, Jessica Vaughn. Lawrence, I'm going to jump in here with you. Are you offended by Senator Harris's comments and her comparing ICE, law enforcement officials, paid to the United States government to enforce a law, comparing them with the KKK?
Yeah, I don't think it's just insulting to me, but many of the people that fought during the civil rights movement, many of the people that fought to get 3 constitutional amendments so black people could get the rights as other Americans, it's offensive. But again, this is the tone that we've been seeing on the college campuses. Just at Seattle University, we just reported at the campus reform, at Leadership Institute's campus reform, that they are disbanding their relationship with ICE, where students could get internship credit, all because of all the negative rhetoric that's been going on in these college campuses. These are people that are trying to keep us safe. But of course, with the leftists of today, they don't care about any of that. They want to make these political and emotional statements, but there's no historical context to support what they're saying.
Jessica, let me ask you if you think that this is a little dangerous to try to tell people that a law enforcement agency is akin to a racist organization that lynched people and murdered them and denied people, American citizens, their constitutional rights. Is that a dangerous thing to implant in the minds of impressionable college students?
Oh, most definitely it is a dangerous thing. Because that undermines ICE's ability to do its job. It empowers sanctuary policies that put the public at risk because they result in the release of criminal aliens back to the streets to keep preying on the community. And it makes it difficult for ICE to do their jobs. It almost like gives like a license to challenge them when they're going about doing a job that's very important to Americans that Americans want to see done. Immigration laws are not some outdated, obsolete laws that don't deserve to be enforced anymore. They protect job opportunities for Americans, they keep Americans safe, and they protect taxpayers, and they protect our legal immigration system. So this is very wrong to undermine this important agency and its work and the people who do it.
Morgan, one of the things that we learned from William Lajeunesse was that there is a mass of people assembling up at Tijuana. And some have said, oh, this isn't going to get here for weeks, if not months. Well, they're here. So that was an outright lie for some of the newscasters to say that it had nothing to do with anything of current events. Well, it's here. What should be the response of the president, Homeland Security, and for that matter, American citizens?
So I think that we have to take a comprehensive all-of-government approach to this. And a lot of people are talking about the troops being on the border, but that is just one element of the strategy, of the national security strategy that the president's is trying to pursue. And I should say, Governor, that it's important to note that this is a national security strategy. By Mattis going down just last week to the border, I think that he gave a lot of credibility and relevance to this project. He said publicly that we don't do stunts. So in one bucket, you have our troops at the border, and they are meant there for a deterrence effect, to say, don't come here, don't invade, you have to go into the proper channels. One of the biggest things that I think we're not looking into, that we have to, is the fact that we have so many failed states in Central America and on our borders, and we have to look at radical new ideas for foreign aid, because the foreign aid that we have sent, billions of dollars worth over decades, we haven't really looked at Central America closely pretty much since the Reagan administration. We were worried about communists. So we have to look at what is our money going to there. Is there a new comprehensive way that we could deal with these failed states? Can we take lessons from what our military and civilian services have done in Iraq and Afghanistan? And then you also have the military aspect, of course, of having that deterrence on the border.
And Lawrence, I mean, my heart is touched when I see children and I see desperate people who are, I mean, immersed in the depths of poverty that it's hard for us even to get our arms around. But a lot of the people who are in this caravan are not little children, and they're not mothers. These are young men capable of doing jobs, and they're threatening that they're going to come whether the law lets them or not. How do you separate that? What is the right response?
Well, Governor, and here's the deal. It's not, a lot of us want comprehensive immigration reform, but there has to be a legal process to do that. And with respect to those young men that are on the border, a lot of them have been fighting journalists on the ground. They've been fighting Border Patrol agents. But these are the same men that won't fight for their own country. I mean, I can only put myself in their position as an American. If my country was under siege and there was an oppressive government going on, what would I do? I would fight for my country and fight for my family. For some reason, they can't do that.
And Jessica, I'll bring you back in. Do you think that there is any hope that there will be a bipartisan solution that will be offered up that will pass this divided Congress that we're about to see?
Well, it's not going to be easy, but it has to happen because we cannot continue to have this influx over our southern border. I mean, it is hard to imagine what life is like for some of these people that must have made them decide to come here. But really, the problem is our policy is enticing people to take this long trek, to put themselves in danger, to put their children in danger, to pay criminal smuggling organizations because they think that they're going to be allowed in and that they're going to be able to get away with living here for the next few years. But it's not fair to them. It's not fair to the American communities that have to absorb these new populations. Congress needs to get something done here. It can no longer allow the courts to impose these restrictions on the executive branch on how they handle an influx of families. Congress has got to get it done. There's only so much President Trump can do on his own. And they're just going to have to find a way to get it done.
I've got to get Morgan back in. Morgan,